Ooh, right on the wire. Got a little extra sun in here today. What is going on? I just got a message on my phone, which means I'm going to turn that phone off. Silent mode, stealthy mode. Scared you like a scary movie, or scared you like, oh my God? It's like Pete, raw. That was my impression of me being scary and a little bit Cookie Monster. Yeah, I snuck up right on that 10 o'clock, didn't I? Ref this up. Hey, what's this extra thing that I'm seeing here? Am I able to ref you up permanently? And I'm gonna do temp. I'm seeing some extra stuff on this bar, Tori T. What's up, TT? We got TTT. People are like, what in the hell is this? T's in the house, man. What's up, T? T. Tori, if you have a second, thank you for inviting your friends, T. So there's going to be T, Tori. There's like numerous nicknames for both of these wonderful individuals, just to keep things kind of confusing. Tori, if you get a chance to, I would love to email a couple people. If you could let Britt know, I meant to do this earlier, let Britt know that Michael Lee is on here, and he's an amazing session blues guitarist. And if she wants to pop on and meet someone that she could definitely be considering for sessions, I think that would be really fun. Same thing with Goda, if you happen to have an email handy. What's up, Michael? Popping in the green room. You ready to go, bro? We've been waiting here for like almost an hour. I've been sitting here just for a while, wondering if you were even going to come on. I'm kidding. I just got on like 10:00, not quite 10:01. It was right between 10 and 10:01. So just to avoid me talking about when I came on, let's bring you up. Tori, Goda,
Hey,
and
what's up?
Britt. What's up, my boy?
How are you
How are
doing?
you? I kind of like
I
the
got
neck
this
shot,
ghetto
dude. Go
setup
back
today.
to the neck. Go back to the neck.
No, the neck is bad, bro. The neck is
You
bad.
got the gobble neck? Gobble, 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 gobble.
No, almost.
Not yet. Someday. Oh, you got a guitar.
Yeah.
Tori's like, dude, what is going on right now? What's up, Sofella? Just trying to scare a few people away that maybe slipped into the room for a second, and they're like, this seems cool. And then I'm like, nah, man, it's going straight turkey.
Right.
Great to see you, dude. Great to finally meet you formally, digitally.
Yeah. Nice to meet you too, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So if I understood correctly, you guys are selling your house today or around this time of life?
We have our inspector coming, right? So the buyer's inspector. So we've been kind of pushed out of the house. Otherwise, I would have a whole setup and everything.
That's totally fine. We'll make it work. We'll make it lo-fi, casual.
Yeah.
Seriously, man. Like, well, I think that's part of the beauty of how this works is we can sort of roll with whatever.
Definitely.
So, I've been listening to your music a lot the last, I would say 12 hours. And just trying to kind of like take stuff in a little bit. I guess for people that are maybe sliding on, and also for you, just as kind of a sense of what we could talk about today. I deliberately make these very open-ended. I learn a lot about whoever's coming on, and then I just kind of let go. So whatever you want to talk about is totally cool with me. And what we do on this, we've been around about as long as you have on you now. Like 4 months, 5 months. We're fucking new. We don't know what we're doing either. And you know what you're doing a lot better than we do. I'll put it that way. Thank you, Laura. But we're new to this. We love it, and we're still sort of like, what is this, and how do we make this cool for everybody that's popping on? So what we try and do on this, we come on twice a week and we just talk to people in the music space. Sometimes it's artists. This whole month is all You Now artists like you. We had 7,000 Apart last week, and we had Dash Pena on last week as well.
Yeah.
So it's just an opportunity for people to talk about what's going on in the music space, but specifically as it sort of applies to live streaming, different things that people are doing in their careers to sort of move into this weird, bizarre space that we're in at the moment. So that, I think, is a perfect introduction for you, because you had this touring and this music history before the pandemic, and you've sort of moved into a new version of your music career now that seems to be doing really well. So maybe you can kind of, for people that aren't familiar with you, or haven't heard your music, haven't heard sort of your backstory, like maybe you can just talk a little bit about where you come from musically, and sort of what's happened along the way, and how you sort of found yourself on You Now at the current stage of all this.
Definitely, that's a long story, but we got time.
Take your time, yeah.
So I'm from Texas, from the North Texas part, so like the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And my folks would always take me out to blues concerts, blues festivals, all that stuff, ever since I can remember. My earliest memory is going to see B.B. King in concert when I was like 4-ish, like in preschool, right? So I remember being taken out of that, like, and I knew who I was going to see and that I wanted to see them. Like blues has always been a big focus, mainly because of Stevie Ray Vaughan, but because and the people surrounding that and all the influences he had.
And Stevie's from where? From Houston? Where is he from?
He's from Dallas, Texas.
He's from Dallas. Okay.
But he moved down to Austin. But yeah. So I was obsessed with him like other kids were obsessed with Sesame Street or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I would plug that in every morning, like the VHS in every morning, and watch that before school. So that's kind of how my obsession started. And then I got my first guitar around the age of 12. And around 15, I started going and playing in blues clubs. And once I got a car, I would sneak out and go to blues jams. And
they'd let you in at 15? They'd be like, "Come on, Mikey, come on up to the stage."
They wouldn't. But then, like you would have to, some of the older blues guys would kind of like tell the door guy, "Hey, he's fine. Just put a mark on his hand." And sometimes I would have to sneak in through the back. Did that a couple of times. But yeah. So
do you remember the first song? Do you remember the first song you played on stage?
Yes, I do. And there's a VHS of it somewhere.
Oh shit!
And I was super, super nervous. I didn't even sing. It was Stevie Ray Vaughan's like version of "Mary Had a Little Lamb," and
I didn't even know he did a version of "Mary Had a Little Lamb."
Yeah, it's Mary had a little lamb, the fleece was black as coal, yeah. Everywhere that child went, the lamb was sure gold there. He followed her to school one day. She was cool. When the time to there, that day at school. Right, so it's like that funky, like blues type thing.
Now you guys realize, for those of you who haven't heard Michael before, why we have him on right now. Jesus, man. Is that you warming up, or is that you after 2 hours warming up on a guitar?
No, I haven't sang in the past like week, but
no, I'm talking about your playing on the guitar right now.
No, what's a warm up?
That's just you like slipping.
I've been playing these licks for 20 years, so
I know, man. It's great. It's great.
It's second. It's nature. It's second nature to me. So, like that video, I'm like, so I don't even know where to look. I'm not even looking at the audience. I'm like facing the band. I got my back to everybody. It's great. It's
you were probably
silly.
15, right? You were 15.
Yeah. definitely.
Shit.
Yeah. And
That's great.
yeah, I remember
That's
it
like
was called,
talent show age. That's like, oh,
right. I was nowhere near talent show level, but like this
I bet you
place, the
were.
hole in the wall, which is no longer there, is this old rundown. It used to be a house, like a really, really
Huh.
small, old house. And so everybody's kind of dancing in the dining room. Like they turned the kitchen into like a little bar area or whatever. And if it was raining, they would have to put a bunch of buckets on the floor, because it was a dive, but it was like the place to go because when touring blues artists were playing through the town, they would come after their show, and you never know who was going to stop in. And
Wow.
it was pretty amazing. It was quite the education to see not only like the level of play and stuff like that, but the showmanship. Like, never would have thought to be like walking up and down the bar, and playing guitar, taking shots, and walking on tables and crazy, like showmanship stuff. That I mean, not a lot. It's kind of dying, but like not a lot of people do that stuff anymore, which maybe for good reason. But anyway, so I started doing that, and then I got my own band, and was gigging and gigging and gigging and gigging forever and ever.
Was there a name to the band, or was it just Michael Lee?
Just Michael Lee.
Michael Lee.
Just always been that way. So then I met my wife, and we ended up getting married in 2018, and then I tried out for The Voice.
Right.
Soon after I got married, and then
it's like while you're on the lucky streak, let's play one more time. Let's double down. I mean, shit. Win once, win twice.
I'm right, exactly. Man, I've been so lucky in my life. I'm very lucky. I don't know how, but I got on The Voice, made it through my blind audition.
Yeah, you did.
We can talk more about that if you want. But
Tori,
anyway,
could you do just a teeny tiny favor, Tori? If you have the link for the blind audition that's got some great moments in it, if you can dig around for that and post it, it's an amazing performance. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so
9 million views.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
9 million views.
Stupid.
Stupid.
Absolutely stupid. And growing up loving BB King, it was really cool to do that.
Yeah.
On a TV show, and then his band.
You did The Thrill Is Gone. You did, right? Which is classic BB King.
His biggest hit.
Biggest hit.
And then the band called me. His band. They had been touring around with Tito Jackson from the Jackson 5 as their front man, and we're going in a different direction. And they saw my blind audition and called me and said, "Hey, do you want to play with BB King's band?" And I said, "Hell yeah!" And traveled all over the United States last year,
wow,
which was crazy. And then we had a European tour set up for this year, and it got canceled due to COVID. We were supposed to leave in May, and that very first day that it was canceled, it was March 6th. And
Laura says they are phenomenal, best show ever. I'm sure you guys are. If you're talking about the BB King band and Michael Lee fronting it, like shit.
Dude, it's fun, man. It's a lot of fun. And then, so we had this tour set up. The day that it was canceled, I logged on to YouNow because I remember Brent talking about it a long time ago. And Keith, who I got to see back in January, Keith Bluso, he was like, "Yeah, man, I've been trying to do that streaming thing with Brent on and off."
That streaming thing.
Yeah. And then so I was like, let's see what this is about. I log in. Yep. I don't even think I changed my name yet. I think it said Michael Lee Numbers. You know how some of these people have all the numbers stuff. And then I didn't have a profile picture, and I just went to the chat and was like, "Hey Brent, remember me from The Voice?" He's like, "Yeah, Michael, is that really you, or is that fake? Or is that a fake person?" And I was like, "No, it's really me." And he pulled me up, level 1 guested me with numbers on my name. Now that I know all these things, he shouldn't have done all that stuff.
Right.
And I went and I did it a lot like this, where I just played guitar and talked. And I went from level 1 to level 40 by the end of that guesting session, because everybody threw a bunch of likes and fanned and all that stuff. And then, I was partnered the next day. It was insane.
What?
Insane. And so now, but because I was afforded such a opportunity by YouNow for help me out, I've really invested in the streaming I spent almost $1,000 on a computer and
What'd you
learned how to
get?
do OBS. I did this build. It actually was like, I think it came out to be more like 800, but it's this Alpha Gaming channel that I follow, and
Okay.
Harris Heller, and it's a build that he made. It really helps with the streaming and handling all the encoding and stuff like that. So you can do video games, you can do music, you can do all that stuff.
So is this like an outboard unit? Is it like a USB? What did you get? An actual
Yeah,
computer
it's a
itself?
tower. Yeah,
Modded?
I got a Corsair like case and all the stuff. It's like a tower computer. It's got a
For
glass on
800
it.
bucks. You got like a tower computer for 800 bucks.
Yeah, dude, I'll send you the link.
PC, I'm assuming it's PC.
It's a PC, and I put it all together. It took me like 6 hours.
Okay,
But
so
that's
what
only
are some,
because I'd
like,
never done it before.
I don't know anything about computer specs, but that
Right.
said, like, what are the basic essential, if someone's reading this or someone's like looking at this, listening to this, and they're like, okay, what kind of computer did he get essentially? Like, what are some of the specs of that computer that helped it do what you needed it to do better?
Honestly, this is my first delve into like the PC
Oh, yeah,
world,
so-
right? And building
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So I've
Yeah.
learned a lot. I had a Ryzen 5 processor. The most money I spent was on the graphics card. If you're wanting to do streaming, you want the graphics card to be nice, but you don't have to spend a whole bunch. So what you want to do is get the Nvidia Tech. I think it's GT something. I'm gonna pull up the exact specs that I did. But
And
you want to have a graphics card?
that's a card, like you stick it into the USB port.
No, it's
Oh.
it's mounted inside
Got
the
it,
PC
got
and
it,
stuff like
got
that.
it.
And you can plug in HDMIs and USBs and stuff like that into that
Okay.
graphics card.
Yeah.
There's an encoder chip on there that handles all the streaming, all the rendering. So you have your OBS program, which will take all the video from your gaming or whatever thing, put it all together into OBS, and then it's got to render that video out, right?
Thank you,
And
Laura.
that's what the stream becomes, is the rendered video outwards. So you
Yep.
have the encoder chip handle all that stuff, so that way your graphics card isn't taking too much of the load, or your CPU isn't taking too much of the load,
Got
and
it.
not overheating or freaking out. So that really helps, and then we upgraded our internet and did all that stuff so we can just make a better product for everybody. And
Yeah.
I'm finally being able to start paying my bills just streaming alone. So that's absolutely ridiculous. I never
That is
expected it to
amazing.
be this fast.
That's awesome. So, man, there's so many different pieces of that I could ask you about. It's interesting that you and Keith have a sort of a parallel story. Like he started playing with blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
Right before the pandemic, or not right before, but before the pandemic, and then of course that was sort of sidelined, and he was like, okay, well, I'm doing something called We Create Now. And
Yeah.
he's moved into something very organically that's become just magic. And it sounds like you've done the same. So it sounds like one of the biggest reasons that you ended up even getting into this in the first place was Brent. And you probably met him. Thank you, Tori. You probably met him at The Voice, right?
I met him on the blind
Hollywood?
auditions. Yeah,
Okay.
so the blind audition process is a long
Yeah.
process, like a month, and there's 100+ of us in this hotel in LA. And I met Brent there. We didn't really hang out a whole bunch, but I also met Keith there. Me and Keith were pretty good buds. So, and I also met Jay Daly there and Sean Rogers. So pretty much all of the
Wow, I didn't realize there was so
people,
much. Yeah,
all of those people I met in a hotel in California.
Wow,
It's
dude.
crazy. That was because the Voice, you're right, Troy, because the Voice got accused of the season right before of not finding good enough talent. So our year, they went out and just scouted, and they're like, all right, it doesn't matter so much about their stories. We're just going to find the best singers we can, or most unique singers we can. And so that's why, like, everywhere you turned, somebody would sing, and you're like, holy, why am I here? Like, these people are ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Laura's saying, "Hey, tell him who got that who got you that gig, bro."
Oh no, who got Keith that gig?
She's saying, tell him who got him that gig.
Yeah. So Keith, Blood, Sweat, and Tears asked me to do that gig first, and I didn't in my mind, I didn't feel like I fit it very well. Like I didn't fit the
Why?
part.
Do you
Like
mind
all
if I ask why?
uh it's I know me and Keith have very similar sounding voices, but I feel like his has a different tone. It's very
I
subtle, but a
agree.
different tone that really, in my opinion, matched more of the Blood, Sweat, and Tears sound, like the classic sound.
Because of I mean, is it because it's a little more rough and throaty and kind of like has a certain sound to it like that? Like, is there something specific?
Um, yeah, it's more of a like mine is really aggressive and really harsh, and he can get a more smoother sound out of it sometimes, I
Yep.
think.
Yep.
But also because I remember talking to him a long time ago, and I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, but his whole goal was to not be a park ranger anymore and play music. That was his whole thing.
Sure.
And I
Sure.
was like, I emailed him back. I was like, hey guys, I already have this BB King blues band thing, and I'm not gonna leave that because that fits me better. The blues thing does.
Totally. That's where
And
you come from. That's what you've been doing your whole life.
yeah, and I wanted to play with those guys at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I have the perfect guy for you. And so I sent his like
Wow.
blind audition videos and stuff. And like I called Keith first and I was like, hey man, you don't mind if I do this, do you? And he was all down with it. And he is what I love about the boys, let me just preface this first, is that they find some of the best people to put on their show. And everybody is a genuinely good person that I've ever met. There was only one person I think my season that nobody really liked out of
Are you
100
talking about?
plus.
You're talking about the talents that showed up, not the production crew or the
Right.
sort of act.
The talent
Right.
is just
Awesome.
genuinely good people, and Keith is top of the list there. He is a great dude. And so if there was anything I could do to like, I had 2 offers. So I was like, Keith makes way more sense doing this than me. So I sent it to him, but he took it and ran with it, and he's kicking ass doing it, dude. He sounds great with it.
He does. He really does. Yeah.
So I'm glad that they went with what I suggested, because they could have been like, all right, we got somebody else,
Right. It's super cool you're saying all that too, because when we were first looking, I mean, the first 2 streams we did for this were on Twitch.
Okay.
And then at the same time, I was like, oh, I just wanted to, I'm a journalist, and I've worked in the music industry. I've played music professionally for a while. And at the moment, I was just looking at, okay, what are the different things that are happening in live streaming and what's going on? And I felt like I wanted to just taste it. I wanted to try doing a live stream about live streaming and just get a sense of like what it feels like when the button's on.
Right.
And we tried it a couple of times on Twitch. It worked. We had Emma McGann on. They were great. Emma and James were on, and we talked about best practices and how to do shit. And it was great. It was awesome. It was like, and I had already interviewed Emma, so I knew like, this is going to be good. It's going to be fine. It'll just be on a live stream. And at the same time, I was like kind of cruising around on YouNow, and I'm like, everybody here is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just, and I've noticed that throughout the entire process.
Yeah.
All the musicians are nice. All the people that pop on are nice. And it's interesting to me that you're saying that so much of the musical DNA of YouNow, which I did not know until 5 minutes ago, really comes from that moment in time from the voice auditions among this sort of select crew of people who that you're saying, yeah, all of them were good people too. They were just nice, good people.
Yeah.
Like I just find that really interesting. That's not like a coincidence of like nice is sort of woven through this entire thing.
Yeah, that's what I love about YouNow, is that it's a smaller platform, obviously, than Twitch and stuff like that. So
yeah,
there's a better sense of community. It's more, it's really tight knit. And, I mean, I would not be whatever level and partner status, whatever, without the people that watch me every day. And also Brent helping me out and doing whatever he can to, get more eyeballs, whether that's him having a raid and raiding my stream after he's done, like little things like that really go a long way and help Yeah, the Legion. There you go. You know, it just slowly builds and builds and builds. And Laura was there. Laura came over because she watched me on Instagram, saw me on The Voice and stuff like that, and she downloaded You Now, Alexa, same. And they're just everybody's really great and really supportive, and it's a beautiful way to get. Oh shit! I said Alexa. My folks have an Alexa. Somebody has Alexa in their house.
She's going to be trying to help the whole time.
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, everybody's just been really supportive, and everybody who's in there day in and day out, and they're awesome. This community is awesome. It's a better way to, like what I was trying to say. It's like it's not necessarily fans, you become friends with these folks because you're talking to them every day, you know?
Yep.
You get a
so what's your sense of like how you stream? In other words, do you pop on a couple times a day? Do you do certain times where you do music only, or certain times where you just hang out or play, video games? Like how do you sort of see it at the moment as far as your streaming schedule?
My streaming schedule right now, because my house is in its fluctuation right now, is I don't have my music set up right now because it's too much to take down whenever people are coming in and stuff like that. So lately I've just been playing video games and hanging out with people. And I know and I appreciate everybody who's sticking to that. But normally it's in the morning is hang out, video games, maybe some music if I'm feeling funky. And then in the evenings, I normally do 2 hours of music, which is 3 p.m. Pacific to 5 p.m. Pacific. So for your viewers. So
awesome. And what do you play a blend of covers and originals? Have you figured like there's kind of a sweet spot for that balance?
Yeah, I've always done that. I mean, even when I go play shows, unless it's like a 45-minute or hour and a half set on a big bill, I'll play originals only. But if it's a regular 3-hour gig or something like that, I'll splice in a bunch of covers, and I'll do that on stream, just because it's just keeps it fresh. And honestly, it's a good way for me to figure out what songs I can and cannot sing. So sometimes I'll try one, I'll pull it up on the old computer and try it there live, and time to change, and it sounds bad, and just quit 2 lines in and move on. It's fun. It's really relaxed and really just laid back.
So it's funny, Laura was saying something, it's kind of like one of the pluses of COVID in a way is it's allowed people to sort of connect with each other and start to hang with each other and know each other on a first name basis that maybe we were strangers a couple months ago or whatever, a couple weeks ago, yesterday.
Right.
It seems to me like you've moved into a thing now where the pandemic has kind of allowed you to, forced you maybe to start doing this or encourage you to start doing this. And now, like you said, you pay your bills from this now. So you're actually in some strange way more stable as a musician now than you were before.
Yeah. Yes. Obviously I would like it to be a little bit more comfortable. I'm able to pay my bills, but I see this being a good way for me to stay connected with everybody and also not have to tour out of necessity,
right?
But out of, because I want to go play, in, New Jersey or Pennsylvania, so I can get up there and see Laura and everybody like that, or go over to London where, before our show, I was like, I know nobody in this country, like 0 people. And now I know like 25, and they're all driving to come see my show that's supposed to be in December. And that's what's really cool about this streaming, So it's really exciting in that aspect. And also whenever I go tour, I can ask the venue to pay me more money because I'm not touring as much, and I don't have to. I don't have to out of necessity. So,
I mean, hopefully, on the flip side of that, it'll be interesting to see how many of those venues are functioning the way they have been in a year, say. I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be hard for a lot of those venues in the traditional way that they do things to continue through this next year. So I think
Yeah.
it's also I think the market's gonna adjust itself down a bit, and in a way, probably a lot of artists like yourself are gonna blend and say, well, you know, X% of my career is streaming or virtual or digital or from home, and then Y% is on the road. And I like the idea that you can pick and choose. You know, I'm gonna do 12 dates this month instead of 25 dates this month.
Right.
And I can, you know, I can breathe, I can take a day, I can, you know, whatever. I can stream from the hotel room or whatever the hell. You know, there's so many things you could be doing. What have you found have been like the most, like musically speaking, just creatively speaking, what are the things that are most enjoyable and rewarding to you about streaming versus being on a stage or writing?
I like the spontaneity, the improvness of it. So a lot of times before I did The Voice, I was playing 6-7 nights a week. And on those Sunday, Monday gigs, like you would just kind of jam, just try to work out some new material or just see where things went, try new things. And that's what I'm able to do on here. It's not necessarily, you know, a super polished performance, but it's like, hey, what is this? Let's do this Elton John song, see how that turns out, you know, or just, you know, just switch it up. And then, hey, let's try the Killers, but slow it down and do like, try to make it more soulful and stuff like that. And just being able to mess with things and getting that instant feedback from your most trusted fans and friends. You know, it's like, hey, maybe that wasn't good. You know, like the chat stops moving, you know what I mean? But, it's been really cool. I like what we were just talking about before that. I just wanted to add something, but I forgot.
That's cool. Okay. It reminds me of like, okay, so have you ever played in LA? Have you ever played any blues clubs here in LA?
No, I haven't. I need to go. What's that place that everybody goes to? Like Joe Bonamassa and a bunch of places go.
Thank you.
Baked Potato is the place I've heard about.
Baked Potato is cool. Baked Potato is really, more than anything, it's a jazz club.
Okay.
Which means that, you know, yeah, the one in North Hollywood, which is probably the one that whoever you said Joe Bonamassa plays there.
Yeah.
Maybe you've heard about it. The Baked Potato is a place that's got an interesting history in LA because, like, you know, I've been writing about music and involved in things here in LA for a while. And 20 years ago, when I was just getting into the field, a lot of the session guys, like session musicians that were making their living, like, okay, I'm going to show up and play drums for you. We're going to do 2 songs. You're going to pay me X amount of, you know, session musicians were, you know, in some ways you might say that session musicians are like the most consummate musicians because they can sit in on a band or an ensemble or a record or a song and just be like, here's the chart, here's the chords, got it, cool, and make it sound like they've been playing it for 2 years. And
Absolutely.
just find it and really find the magic in a song. So these are the kinds of people that were more or less driving the economy in LA 20 years ago. That's not the case now. It's very, very hard to make a living as a session musician now. But back in the day, when, you know, people were still buying CDs and money was still changing hands,
right,
you could make a living. And so where would those guys go at night? And girls, where would they go at night? They could sit down and play blues or jazz standards at the Baked Potato and hang with all their homies.
Right.
And so it was this like haunt. It was this like, fuck, you could walk in and you never know who you'd see. It was that kind of place. But that's the bass player for fucking Toto, like sitting right there, 6 feet from me, jamming on, you know, some pop song or something.
Right.
Thank you for the likes. I didn't even see who it was, but I appreciate it. Tori, say thank you for me. I get into my zone here, and I'm like, I'm really not as good as I should be at like the interaction, but I'm loving you guys. Thank you so much. And so that place would be cool for you, not just because like, oh, I could catch this kind of music or that person performing, but just the vibe of the place, because it still to this day has that DNA of like, you never knew who's going to walk in the door. Right. Thank you, OG. So I think you would love that place, and you'd get blues is so interesting because, in a way, on the surface, it's the simplest music.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1-4-5. The chords are not technically, thank you, Buzz. It's not technically as complicated a song, and yet to play blues well, thank you. It's really, really hard, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I just think it's one of those spaces where it brings a lot of people together from that sort of blues jazz vibe. You'd love it. You'd absolutely love it.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to. And I agree with you. You know, the blues is it's one of those weird things that it's all about the minor details and how you play something.
Totally.
How it's all about the micro, not how are you going to weave these crazy chords in and out, you know, with your solos. You're telling a story, you know, that I've always heard that you want to. Here's a story. I was in a blues club when I was 16, and there was this guy. He was this really, really older gentleman, and he was one of the better blues singers around town. And his name was Joe Jonas, and it was a big whole deal whenever the Jonas Brothers came out. But he would walk up to the stage with like a cane, and he had like a harmonica vest, right? And he's decked out. He's got nice shoes and shirt on and all that stuff. He's walking up with the cane. As soon as the band, he would like, all right, shuffle and C or whatever. 1, 2, right? Yeah. And he would kick it off, and then he'd kick that cane to the side, start shaking, and he would sing, and it was a really great showman. And then I was up there jamming with him, and I was playing a solo or something, like just really fast, and he like stopped the song, and he was like, and break it down, and he was like, son, when you play fast like that, all the guys pay attention. If you play it nice and slow and pretty, all the girls will pay attention. Which one do you want? I was like, gotcha. and then that's when I just started playing all the BB King stuff. So, yeah. And, you know, that's just the kind of part of the education that I got. But I definitely need to come out to LA, man, and check out the blues clubs and the blues scene.
So there's a link I sent you right like maybe an hour ago. You probably didn't have time to read it, but there was a club that unfortunately is closed now. It used to be called Babe and Ricky's. And that was the place where, like, you know, the Keb Moes and all those people that were like the real blues musicians would go in, and it would be like family time. Like, they would seriously roll out food on Sunday. It was included with your ticket, and it would be cornbread and like collard greens, and it would be a buffet, and it was like it was church. It was church. It was like people walk up, and you had a house band that was just ready for whatever, right? Like, okay, man, making, shuffle and see, like you said, okay, and then you see it take over, and it would go all these different directions. I wish that place was still open, because that's the kind of place, I think, with all the heritage that you come from Texas, and all the blues musicians that you've probably played with or studied or love, like, there's not a lot of places, Big Potato, not a lot of places in LA that are like, that really get the blues.
Right. I mean, and my wife,
including BB King's.
Right. My wife's family is from LA, and so whenever her grandmother was around, we would go stay with her out in North Hollywood, whatever. But it was more of a family situation. Yeah. And then whenever I was out there for The Voice, we were sequestered, so we weren't allowed to leave or experience. I'm a huge music fan.
What was that like, dude? You're literally like, you can't leave the premises of the hotel for like 12 months?
It wasn't 12 months exactly, but it was 6 to 7 months that I was in a hotel. You can leave and like walk across the street to get something to eat, or they'll like set up a ride to the bank or a ride to Guitar Center, but you got 30 minutes there and you got to come back. We were 15 seasons in by the time I got there, so They learned a lot of mistakes along the way, like letting people go out at night. And next thing you know, people are drinking in downtown Hollywood and saying, I'm on the next
I'm
season
on
of
The
The Voice.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, TMZ is knocking down the hotel's doorway. And then they got to move everybody. And so, or at least that's what they told us why. But yeah, it was pretty neat. I mean, it was beautiful every day. It drove me crazy that I didn't see a cloud in the sky for 6 months. I wanted a rainstorm, and you guys don't get any rain.
No, not really.
And then, like, I also do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I was obsessed with that.
You mean
and
capoeira?
LA is, huh?
Do you mean capoeira?
No, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
So Jiu-Jitsu is from Japan, but in the early 1900s, they sent an emissary to Brazil, and one of the emissaries, taught this one family Jiu-Jitsu. They, modified, and then that family had, that guy had, I want to say 9 children. One of those
Gracie?
children
Was it Gracie?
The Gracies, yeah. They moved to LA, started the UFC, and won the first couple of UFCs. So that's what I was really into. So I'm obsessed with it at the time. And everywhere in LA, there's a jiu-jitsu school, and it's like the OGs, and I'm not allowed to go. Well, I could have probably snuck out and gone, but they're like, man, if you get hurt or anything like that, that's a huge liability and you're lost. So
right.
It was everything that was in LA I wanted to go and do. I wasn't able to do, so I need to get back out there.
Right.
Spend a week or two.
Can I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can speak openly about stuff that happened or what you learned on The Voice. If so, if you can't, let me know. But if so, I got a couple questions about your experience on it, and you can always just say, I'm not supposed to talk about that or something like that.
Yeah, go for it.
So I'm really curious. Okay, for those of you that haven't seen, and by the way, Sunray, it's good to see you. Wu-Tang, it's good to see you. Thank you for bringing some friends on. Sorry, I'm trying to kind of catch up a little bit. Britt, is Britt on here? Oh, sweet. Glad you made it. If you look at your blind audition performance, what did you feel like was the feedback you were getting, or the tips you were getting, or the things that you were learning about singing or about performing or about playing? How did that? What did you learn in the process?
I learned a lot from their vocal coach. So you have a vocal coach that they set everybody up with, and her name is Treylani Rose, and she's the vocal coach for Pink, and Janet Jackson. She's top of the line, and I had never had a vocal lesson before in my life. So
really,
she's asking, and I learned how to sing in bars. I started around the age of 20. I'm 32 now. But, she's having you do all that stuff over and over and over. I'm like, lady, this is going to suck today. My first one, I'm like, this is going to suck. Really? But tomorrow, I'm going to be a lot better because I'm going to go practice. And she's like, oh, it's fine. Super positive. Everything's so positive out there.
Thank you, Wu-Tang.
But I learned a lot about just, fundamentals and technical things with singing. And then I kind of took those foundational things and applied it to the sound that I was wanting to achieve. Mm-hmm. And also I learned a lot from the other contestants that I was either rooming with or friends with. And they, a lot of those people went to Berkeley or some crazy music school, and they would just teach you no-brainer stuff, that they probably didn't think was a big deal or a secret. I'm like, you guys just messed up. You taught me how to sing right. So y'all are screwed. Y'all just messed up. You're going to go fuck around and mess up. Yeah, because y'all are teaching me how to sing the right way. And there's a bunch of us Texans that were there that were all that way. We all learned how to sing in bars. And
in bars, yeah.
Yeah, they're teaching us all these secrets. We're going to be killer. But yeah, so I learned the most from my fellow contestants, and also, that vocal coach. I can't speak to what it was like to have Adam or Kelly or Jennifer Hudson. They may have done more. as far as the technical things with singing, but Blake is more towards not even song choice. It's more about I'm gonna make you do what you do really well and make you comfortable. I want to make sure that you're the most comfortable you possibly can be. So every time that there was Keith Urban or some rehearsal on camera, he would start it off by dropping an F-bomb or shit or something like that, because he knows that all these cameras, all these lights, and all this stuff are made for you to feel nervous. And if he goes and just starts cussing, and that gives you the idea of like, all right, cool. So they're going
Doesn't
to edit
fucking
some of
matter.
this stuff out. It breaks the ice and all this different stuff. So that
Yeah.
way, it gets rid of the nerves. That's
Wow.
probably what he does the best.
Wow. That's super fascinating, because I think about his mojo on camera and on stage, and he feels comfortable and he makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
And I never thought of that as like a superpower. Like sometimes I will ask people, especially people that come on to this that have like multiple things they might do, or different ways that different parts of their career and shit like that. And I'll say like, okay, but what is your sort of superpower? What is the thing that you feel? And sometimes it's hard for people to even, speak on it, because it makes you maybe feel like you're bragging or something. But I think everybody's got something that is sort of a big reason why they've been able to do what they've been able to do in whatever field. And I feel like you just sort of outlined what, a lot of his unique power. Do you feel like, because it was one of the things that was occurring to me last night as I'm listening to your stuff, like you're an insane soloist. You can solo on guitar probably for an hour and entertain people. Yeah. You can write a song. You can write great songs. You can perform vocally great songs. You can entertain on a stage with a blues band behind you, or you could do all of these things. There's probably other things you could do musically that just haven't, that I didn't discover in the last 24 hours. Do you feel like there's, and then of course you can live stream, which is its own thing, right? Do you feel like there's either one of those that kind of is the one that you feel is like your torch in a way, the thing that like you're most, that it's kind of like the thing that everything circles around? Or do you feel like there's a kind of a particular way that you take all of that and make something that's kind of your superpower recipe that makes you kind of who you are musically?
I think it was two things. Basically, my upbringing through jam sessions and stuff like that at a very early age. I thought I was going to be a guitar hero, right? And then you show up to a jam session and there's a guitar player that's better than you and younger, and you're 15. You're thinking, oh look, I'm the prodigy. Oh no, you ain't. Here's Kenny, and Kenny can play circles around you. So I was like, all right, well Kenny can't sing. So I'm very competitive in that way. So I would learn how to sing. And then I noticed, hey, they're good singers and guitar players. Or I idolized another guy named Ian Moore, who's a niche guy back from the 90s. He could write songs, sing, and play guitar. And I was like, that's the triple threat. That's what I should aim for. But what allows me, what I feel like my superpower is, and it's not always a healthy one, is I am able to obsess over things. I obsess over guitar until I have reached whatever goal I wanted. I obsess over singing, so I reach whatever goal. Songwriting, obsess. Video games, obsess. Streaming, for the first 3-4 weeks of March, when I was learning OBS, learning Adobe Premiere, After Effects, all these different programs.
Oh, you went deep. Oh, you went all in.
All in. Absolutely obsessed, and could not. And you couldn't get me away from it. Putting in 8 to 12 hour days. It would take my wife going, hey, can you come watch, a show with me and spend some time? And I'm like, I don't really want to sleep. I'm so close to getting like this done. I would absolutely obsess over these things. So I feel like that's my superpower. Didn't you watch a 2-hour video on League of Legends character? Yes, I did. Absolutely did. Not in one setting, but like I did. Because I'm
What's
trying
up,
to.
llama?
I just get obsessed with whatever it is. You're an Adobe guru.
So when you were obsessing, and actually it's funny, like I feel like I've heard that from many people in music over the years, that it's like just that ability to go deep into something. Um, when you were getting into live streaming and kind of like going crazy with it, so it was Adobe Premiere, it was After Effects.
Yeah.
Was it any sort of tweaking of your studio? Anything that you were like, oh no, this mic's not going to work, or this is not, I need to do this, I need a new camera?
Well, I mean, all my income was taken away, so I didn't have a whole lot to play around with or try to buy or invest that way. I knew I could save up just enough to invest in a computer that could handle streaming these different programs. I was
Yep.
still going to use my iPhone 6 as my webcam for my thing. That's what I was going to use for a while. But a buddy of mine that takes incredible photos that actually lived right down the street from us. He's a great photographer, and he had a DSLR thing that we just had laying around. Let me borrow that for quite a bit. I just had to give it back to him, so now I got a Chinese-made webcam, and it's like $30, and I don't know if it's sending all my info to their government or not, but it's I'm trying to do what I can.
Free promotion,
right,
to the Communist Party.
right, free promotion. And
I mean, if you figure if you got half the Communist Party, you probably got the whole thing, right? Because they're all doing the same thing.
right, absolutely. But yeah, so I delved into Adobe, and then I got audio program that I use to do my music and just do my vocals.
What do you do,
and all that
Logic,
stuff.
or no? You're on PC, so it's
I'm using free stuff. I'm using Reaper. Reaper is free. Apparently, it's only free for the first 60 days, but as long as you keep clicking, I need more time, it's free.
GarageBand. Work with what you got. Amen.
Yeah.
So true.
Trying to do what I can with what I got, and it's so far I think it sounds good. It took a lot of trial and error, but I watched. If anybody's trying to get into it, I watched this one YouTube channel pretty much exclusively, which was Alpha Gaming, and Harris Heller, who is a Twitch streamer, but he became first like kind of went viral with his wife on Vine, and then he's got like 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, but he does it to Twitch, and he talks about how to grow as a streamer, how to grow as a platform, how to do these different little design things that will help boost your product. So and now he's got a web designer and all this different stuff that's on his like crew and his team, and that guy does. Hey, what's up, 7,000?
Thank you, 7,000. Thank you so much.
That does a lot of his a lot of his videos and Twitch stream stuff. I haven't streamed on Twitch at all, just because I've heard it's so difficult to grow on that platform. But I know they just rolled out a different algorithm or something like that to help people grow. So I'm going to continue on you now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I think they're two. Annie misses Vine. I think they're so different, man. I mean, it just seems like they're such different animals, and I think there's probably things that Twitch is, very good at. There's actually a book when I was starting to get into this stuff 4 or 5 months ago called Twitch for Musicians. It's by Karen Allen, and I would say 35% of it applies to any live stream platform. It's just sort of like how things work and why things are a certain way. Of course, the book, even in its second updated edition, is now probably 6 months old, maybe even a year old, which isn't that old. But I mean, it's a completely different game now than it was. But still, a lot of those principles, that was really useful for me. We found a number of like YouTube channels like that. But it's interesting that the one that you went for is actually a gaming channel, not like not a music person or
no, not at all. I've always been interested in what other people do, because I don't want to copy what other musicians are doing, per se, or whatever avenue that they're going down. A lot of people I listen to just to get their mindset and stuff like that, just as far as being an artist and creating all the time, is like comedians. Comedians have to turn over a lot of, a lot of work all the time. They're constantly creating, constantly refining what they're doing. I
Yep.
love their work ethic. They're constantly going on stage and working out material. Can't wait to go to the Comedy Store at some point. But now
Here
that
in
Joe
LA, yeah,
Rogan's moving to Austin, I can just drive 3 miles and go to the comedy club down there.
that's true.
Yeah. So
I wonder what that podcast is going to be like when it goes on to Spotify in January. I feel like it's going to really change it, but maybe not.
he'll be in Austin by then, right?
I don't know, but I
I'd
just know
imagine.
that it's going to be paid, from what I
Right.
understand, and it's going to be on Spotify. So I just feel like the whole energy of it may change a little bit. I don't know. Tori's giving me the 5-minute warning. This was really cool, man. Like, again, I think we uncovered a lot of things about your adventure moving into this during the conversation, and I appreciate you sort of giving us some details. Usually, we try and give people a chance. I mean, if you want to play a song, you can.
Sure.
I think it would be great, and if you want to sort of kick things off with please fan up Michael. I mean, some of you guys most likely already know about him. He's an incredible blues guitarist and songwriter, and you guys are gonna absolutely enjoy his music. Do you have, before we get into the song, do you have anything coming up? Do you have any? I don't know if you're working on a record, or if you have anything outside of the sort of daily live stream thing that you want to let people know about.
I mean, until this house situation is going on, I can't really focus on too much other stuff. But I plan on starting to record some new songs and stuff like that. That's my goal, is to get in and start making a record, whether I do that at home and just bring the musicians in that way, or actually go to a studio like I did last time. But I know they're trying to reschedule all our tours and stuff, and we're on the books to go to London in December. So if you're over there, be on the lookout. If that actually happens, I am from Texas, and it's the Wild West down here, so they may not let us in your country.
So I'm also curious, like, would you be interested in doing session work? If it was like remote session work, you'd probably have to have a DAW.
Yeah.
But is that something that you've done before that you'd be interested in doing with people?
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why I shouldn't. I have a DAW and all that stuff, so I have a way to record and do that remote session stuff. I've done session work to where I go in and go to a studio and do it that way, but there's no reason why I can't do it at my house.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I got all this stuff.
We had two guys on, Tori, I think this was about 6 weeks ago. We had two guys on from a company called Session Wire. And Session Wire basically allows two people, even if they have different DAWs, to be able to connect remotely and basically, like, more or less track a session almost in real time. Like,
really?
Yeah. Now, there's a couple of things about it that are worth mentioning. One is it's only Mac OS right now. So you'd either have to go somewhere where there's a Mac setup or Logic or whatever. Thank you very much, Mindtricks. Thank you. Or the other option is something called Audio Movers.
Okay.
Which is a simpler app that you can run on your computer. It also works on PC. If I can give you any of this kind of boring technical stuff, like, I'm more than happy to, like, in a separate email or something, like, I'll break some shit down for you. I'm happy to. But those are two that are Audio Movers, frankly, is being used a lot more by studios than Session Wire at the moment, because Audio Movers is a much smaller footprint. It's also PC or Mac, and it doesn't really run with the DAW in the same way. It sort of just allows people to audition something remotely, or kind of almost do like review listening sessions. Yeah, I like that. Can we do this? Kind of fixing things in real time, but it's not the same as tracking. You're in Houston and I'm in LA, and I'm like, yeah, let's try it again. Session Wire will let you do that.
That's wild. I don't know how they
Yeah.
get that latency down so low.
They don't entirely. I mean, even
Right.
they told us on the live stream, they're like, there's no way you can't physically eliminate the latency because, I mean, light takes a certain amount of time and electricity takes a certain amount of time. But I think they calibrated so it feels like it's more or less real time.
Right.
But what you can't do, and there's a couple of software programs that purport to do this, but nobody's actually able to do it yet, is like basically jam together simultaneously. You're
Right.
playing and I'm playing in real time. No, it's not possible yet.
Right. I know me and Keith, whatever, like we guessed it a couple times. And if it was like in the middle of the day and nobody's on, the latency would be so low you could hardly tell. So he'd be singing a song and I'd like play a lead to it. But
yeah.
That's the closest
So actually,
to jamming.
and look, let me mention something, because Tori and I were talking about this a week or two ago as an idea, and I think this would be like super cool for you to do this if you were down to do it. There's a studio here in LA that's like a pop studio, kind of a mainstream studio, East West, pretty well-known studio, and we were there for a live stream, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, and I think it would be really, really cool to set something up where we have, let's say, covers, because it's just easier to do collaboratively. And we have maybe some session folks or whatever at East West set up, and we figure out what the songs are, and then you guys can come in and play along. And exactly what you just said is what I was we were talking about this, Tori and I, is if it's a keyboard part, or if it's a solo guitar, or if it's background vocals or something where it doesn't have to be like exactly like down to the millisecond exactly in real time for it to sound pretty good. Like those are the people that could basically fly in virtually and be like, okay, so in the second verse, I'm coming in, got it. And you could and it would be so fucking cool to get, LA and Houston and London to be playing a song together.
Right.
It's not going to be that hard to do that. I would love to do that. I would love to do
amazing.
that. And we could do a whole thing on fucking blues songs, because I mean that's what blues clubs do. They we're gonna do. Everybody knows the 100 blues. I mean, right?
Right.
We should do a blues one, Tori. We should do one that's like 100% blues and because Keith would be on here. I bet Brent would be down to do it. Like it's just occurring to me now. Like blues would be perfect.
Yeah.
So you like how I'm like roping you into that without even
go for it, dude. That sounds fun.
It'll be fun. So listen, man, I know you got a lot going on. You got a lot of plates spinning. Thank you very much for making the time to pop on here. I know good luck with the house transition, and successful sale of it and whatever you guys are hoping to get from that process. And just thank you for sharing some stuff with us. Let us know how we can help you. And we'll definitely be in touch.
Awesome.
You want to kick things off with a song for everybody?
Cool. I got this 12-string Seagull acoustic here. That is my father's. Let's
You're opening up an art gallery, OG? We gotta talk. That's so cool.
All right, let's just do some blues since we were talking about it.
Let's do it.
Put this mic right here. Postman is at my door. He's got a COD. It must be a message from my baby to me. I paid him what was due. When I read that first line, I fell down on my knees and I started losing. Nearly lost my mind when she was gone. Love my baby, though my baby's gone. Well, she's gone. Well, she's gone and she ain't coming home. She left me all alone, though my baby's gone. I got back on my feet. I regained my self-control. I'm And she said, boy, the reason why you're feeling so bad, you're about to lose the best that you ever had. Well, she's gone. Love my baby's gone. Well, she's gone, she's coming home. She left me all alone, though my baby's gone.
I can play rhythm.
I got back on my feet, now I gained my self-control. I'm trying to see the gypsy dog just to have my function told. She said, boy, the country need no food. You're about to lose the best that you ever had. Well, she's gone. My baby's gone. Well, she's gone, she's coming home. Look, she left me all alone. Look, my baby's gone. Awesome,
She's
awesome,
gone,
awesome.
man. She's
Awesome,
gone.
awesome, awesome. Thanks, man. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it, dude.
Thank you. Thank you very, very, very much. So yeah, man, we'll definitely be in touch. We're on here Wednesdays and Fridays if you ever want to come on and pop in. What is your schedule normally this time of day, Pacific, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.? Is this ever a time where you can?
I'm normally off. I'm normally off by 11 Pacific time.
Okay.
I'm normally done streaming, and I'm not doing anything. So I'll definitely come in and check it out, dude.
You guys, yeah, you're always welcome to pop in if you want. If there's anything we can do to help you or anything else like that, please let us know.
Definitely, dude. Thanks for the enjoyable interview, man. It's cool.
Likewise, dude. That was super fun. Man, that's crazy that like the voice, man, is like deep in the origin story of You Now musicians. I never really realized it went that deep.
Yeah, I know that Sean was on it for super long, and Jay Daly had been on it for quite a while, and Brent, obviously. But I think Brent kind of recruited me and Keith, and I've tried to recruit a couple more. But yeah, it's a deep pool of talent here.
Yeah, and I also love that you guys have helped each other out, and I feel like that's been a part of this community. Everyone that's popped on is supportive. Everyone that's here is supportive. Everybody, has questions or is trying to help each other out. So I think it's something to not take for granted, like you were talking about. And, that's kind of what we're here to do as well, is just like be a cool space for people to learn about music and enjoy it.
Yeah, man, definitely. J Squared, Jeremiah was in the blind audition process. I don't think he got a chance to audition. So what happens is that they have 48 people that move through, and they have 100+ people who are auditioning. So as soon as the teams fill up, everybody else goes home. So it doesn't mean that he didn't make a team or anything like that. But I don't think he got the chance to audition. And Sean didn't get the chance to audition either. But that's how we all met. So
how do you even know if there is an audition, or how do you even sort of get into the running for auditions?
There's a big tryout process. So they do like regional stuff. And then, so I auditioned in Houston,
Voice.com.
right? I auditioned in Houston and made it through that little audition. And then you go out to LA for like a couple days, do
Yeah.
another audition in front of like the producers and the vocal coach and all those different people. And then if you make it through that, then you got like all the stuff that you have to do for legal reasons for like a reality or a TV show, which is like an IQ test, personality exam to make sure you're not crazy, and then all this different stuff. So, and then you are home for a couple of weeks, and then you're gone for the next 5-6 months. So
Crazy.
Absolutely nutty.
Well, agreed, Mind Tricks.
Cool, man.
This is an amazing community, and I think it's a good space for everybody. So I'm glad you're here, and thanks again so much, man. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Likewise.
Drag myself out.
All right, sounds good, man. Michael's not crazy, y'all.
I don't know.
That was awesome. Wow, I really didn't know hardly anything about how the voice actually rolls, how it actually sort of brings people on. When I watch those videos from his performances, I'm like, man, like, it's just crazy. To me, it feels like some of that stuff is like a very unique moment in time that it's very cool that they captured it. Like hearing him perform those songs. And I think it really helps people. Yeah, I agree, J Squared. Man, he's really, I can't wait till his setup is back. And Tori, I want to be able to do some stuff. There's something really cool about blues that allows people to sort of participate. And I don't know, I agree. Yeah, I'm kind of speechless. And that's one of the things I was actually going to ask Michael was like, blues is kind of a performance and a live thing. It's grown out of, going to a club, and it's almost like jazz in that way. Like it's not the song, it's the performance of the song that becomes famous. And so not having that as a blues musician seems like it would be like sort of shut you down. And yet Keith and Michael, it's like these guys that come from that blues tradition, that sort of folk Americana tradition, have been able to sort of figure things out. So I think it's awesome. And I think there's something there that we could facilitate some kind of like people being able to play together or people being able to write together. Like what Keith is doing obviously is amazing, and it's daily, which is super cool. And it's very supportive, and I think it's great. I think something that uses blues as a kind of a way to tie things together makes it easier for people to jam, basically, because blues music is like you can hear it and understand it pretty quickly and be able to play along. Yeah. Oh, you did a blues duo guesting? That's awesome. DJ Mind Tricks, what do you play on guitar? Amazing. That sounds fucking amazing. Dude, are you set up to play some guitar, man? You want to pop in for a little bit? It's 11:13. We got a little bit of time. If you want to do some jamming on guitar. Latency wasn't too bad. Yeah, dude, if you want to pop on and jam a little bit. If anybody else in the yeah, man, open mic, step on up. This is like Blues Club. You're not the best guitarist. Dude, who is? I mean, I don't know who the best guitarist is, but it's only one person, and they're probably pretty lonely. So, I mean, look, I got a keyboard here set up. I don't know if it'll work. I don't even know if you guys realized that I was playing along with Michael or not. I was kind of deliberately doing it very quietly because I didn't know if it was going to sound like distracting or sound like shit or what. But we might be able to, you could hear it. Okay, so yeah, you could anyway. Small latency, interesting, yeah. Blues is tricky too, right? Because especially with something like a shuffle, like the ding, 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 ding. When it's a rhythmic thing, it's very tricky because even just a slight difference in the timing kind of fucks things up a little bit. Yeah, you now has a latency problem. I think it would have been better maybe if I had done something as a little bit less like rhythmic, but yeah, dude, if Mind Tricks, if you want to pop on and just like fuck around for a minute, even if it doesn't end up, it's sort of like what Michael was saying, even if it doesn't end up sounding fantastic. Thank you, Lemon. Do you play as well? Thank you for inviting your friends. Do you want to pop on and play, or you just want to chat? Only asking so that I do not want to talk to you about a few things, though. I do want to talk to you about a few things, though. Okay. Sounds interesting. Can Jay Cozy come up in a minute? Yeah, dude, let's do it. Jay Cozy, come on up. Now, just so I kind of know what's going on. Are you guys? Let me know if you're thinking about just. Oh, Jay Cozy, you want to play, or do you want to just chat? Just let me know. Yeah, man, love to. So just put your hand up. Or both. You could definitely do both. Lemon, I see your hand up, dude. I'm happy to invite you on. I just wanted to get a vibe on, do you want to chat or do you want to play? Just let me know, man. So I can, we might only have time for like one. So I'm down for whatever. Tori, if you could maybe just put out some, welcome to the crew, Jay Cozy. Sounds like he's probably getting kind of set up a little bit. So, Tori, could we post some stuff on Michael's URLs? Let's do it, Jay. See, this is what's cool about this shit, is like, we don't know what's going to happen next. Jay Cozy.
Sorry, sorry, my bad. Let me fix my shit.
Laura, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you being here. I could tell you're a big part of Michael's backstory, and thank you so much for being here with us today. See you soon, Laura. All right, man. Good to meet you.
Likewise. Hello.
Thank you for being in, and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then just fucking start playing. Or whatever you want to do.
No, that sounds good. I'm 29 years old. I live in Texas. My name's Jacob.
This is not a dating site, bro. I'm just kidding.
He's
like I'm a Scorpio. I like long walks through the forest at night.
I like model airplanes and shit.
Yeah, dude. Who doesn't like model airplanes?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I performed professionally for a few years, and you know. You
said you're in Austin, right? You said you live.
I'm in Houston. I
Houston.
lived in Austin for about 8 years, but yeah, I did that thing, and
did the weird thing got out?
I'm still.
You're not weird enough. They kicked you out. They're like, this guy's just not weird enough. Like, get him out of here. It's freaking us out.
Yeah, man. It was it wasn't weird enough for me, so I moved to Houston, and
Austin was not weird enough for you.
Yeah, man. No, it was fine. It was cool. It was it's a good town. It was a great time.
It's probably a good place to be a musician, right? Like,
overall, that's the myth.
Maybe it's really competitive. Maybe it's like Nashville or something.
Well, it's like, different, man.
Everybody's good.
Sure, yeah. Everybody's playing. Everybody's gigging. Nobody's getting paid. It's really hard to kind of develop a following there. But it is cool, like, because there's so much resource. There's so many great instrumentalists and producers and songwriters, and people are just giving away gear left and right. Everybody's got like a beautiful old guitar in their fucking basement that just ends up at a thrift shop,
swap meet or something. Yeah.
So that part of it is really cool. It is. Yeah, you want to have your shit together. That's kind of the thing. I went out there with nothing. So it was different. I was a big fish in a small town in Colorado and New Mexico. So I was doing $160 an hour 3 nights a week and stuff, and so I was used to that. And then I go to Austin and there's like a 6-year-old white kid on every corner that'll just tear your fucking ass up on blues guitar. I mean, Michael Lee, right?
Yeah.
So You know, like I mean,
yeah.
He's an animal. He's an animal.
So it's like a lot of Michael Lees running around going, "Fuck, dude, I gotta get out of here. Like this place is too much for me, man. I can't do this."
He's incredible. Oh, did I miss him? Okay, yeah, I love that man.
Yeah. He was just on like 5 minutes ago. That's why I thought you were clowning on me for a second. You're like, Michael Lee, right? And I'm like,
no,
yeah, I think I've heard of him. And then I'm like, oh no. It's actually he didn't realize. Yeah, he was just on here for like an hour talking about his whole life story. It was great.
Oh, dude, Michael's amazing, man.
And he was like, Jay Cozy would kick my ass on guitar. No, he didn't say that.
He would never say that. Oh, that is nowhere near the truth.
Yeah. So what kind of guitar do you play? Do you do mostly blues, or do you just kind of do whatever?
Well, blues is kind of how I got into it. I started playing blues for a little house band when I was like 15, and playing blues guitar. That was kind of how I faked my way into every other kind of music. But I guess I'm more just doing the Birkenstocks, banana pancakes, fucking singer-songwriter thing now, man.
I love musicians that are in on the joke and realize, like, dude, it's just me wearing Birkenstocks and making fucking banana pancakes. That's what this is. I remember, I don't know if you'll appreciate this or not, and then whatever. But like, I remember for some reason it reminds me. In my early days as a journalist, I interviewed Jack Johnson.
Yeah.
And nobody had ever heard of Jack Johnson. He had just come out with his first record, whatever. And what was funny was like, he really didn't give a shit about trying to be any kind of musician. He was a filmmaker. He was actually a surfer.
Yeah.
He was a professional surfer, was pretty good, got injured, had to sit and not move for months, grabbed a guitar to not go crazy.
Right.
And was finishing up a degree in filmmaking at somewhere in California, or maybe it was Hawaii, I can't remember. And it was like, fuck it, I'm going to make the music for my film. It was a surfing film.
Yeah.
Black and white, I think, something. And he ended up playing like his style of guitar. He didn't give a shit about music. He just loved music and had no pretensions about anything, and realized like, I play like Paul Simon covers and other shit for my friends and family, dude. Like, I'm just the guy next to the tree that can play a few songs.
Yes, man.
And it was so cool, like, talking to someone that's like, dude, like, people kind of like your music right now. And he's like, whatever, man. If this doesn't work, I'll go back.
Well, that's films. The cool thing about him is, I mean, his humanity really comes across in his music, and that's the best part about him. And, everybody rags on him for being what he is, but like, you can't knock the guy. And he's worked with some of the most amazing people, and that just like, they came to him, Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. No,
I think he's one of those cats that makes it look and sound very easy, but it's not, man. It's not easy to do what he does. He makes it look easy. That's part of the art in my view.
Well, he's got soul, man.
He does.
When you got soul like that, and you have drive, I mean, you're talking about a very motivated individual, I mean, he's an athlete and a scholar, I mean, it's not by accident that someone gets that way,
So yeah, man, you want to play some music, man? Go for it.
Yeah.
Cozy Emotes has more soul than the average bear. Nice. Nice.
It's an interesting comparison. I love Kiki. Okay, man, I'll play you a song. I'm gonna play. I'll play.
Banana pancakes, man. Okay, everybody gets banana pancakes, dude. I'm gonna make some right now.
I'm not gonna do that though. I'm not gonna do that
right now.
It's too obvious. I'm gonna play a Stephen Stills song.
Everybody put on their Curious George outfit.
Thank you, man. I always make that reference, and no one knows what I'm talking about.
Really?
That song that he did with G Love and Special Sauce is great too.
Chocolate chip banana bread? Ooh. Sounds good.
$4 and 20 years ago, come into this life, son of a woman and a man who lived in strife. He was tired of being poor, and he wasn't into selling door to door. And he worked like the devil to be more. A different kind of poverty now upsets me so. Night after a sleepless night, I walk the floors and I want to know, why am I so alone? Where is my woman? Can I bring her home? Have I driven her away? Is she gone? Morning come the sunrise, I'm driven to my bed. I see that it is empty and there's devils in my head. I embrace the many-colored beast. I grow weary of the torment, can there be no peace? And I catch myself just wishing that my life would simply cease.
Fuck yeah, man. Great.
Thank you. No, I clap for myself.
Yeah, I clap for myself. This is actually, that's probably the only really awkward thing about you now so far for me is like, and I was like, it's just like a single clap, you know, like that's, you know.
You know, the more awkward thing is the silence after, you know, there's that like little bit of delay and you like
you put the guitar down like that just happened. So here we are.
I love it.
That's awesome, right?
Yeah. What's your name, man?
Pete. Sorry, Peter. Yeah. So
nice to meet you, man.
Likewise. So we do this Wednesdays and Fridays. It's called Liveonlive. We basically do interviews, and it's really interviews. Almost everything we do, you need an air horn sound effect.
That's like a whale. That's like a whale sound effect.
So yeah, we had Michael on just talking about like, how the fuck did this happen, dude? You got on 4 months ago and you're like fucking crushing this shit. I know you're the guitar player, but like, what the hell, man?
Well, he's an amazing person, man, and his life has honestly been incredible. Like, I mean, yeah, he told you about the BB King stuff. That to me, I'm just like, we are not worthy. Like, BB was amazing, man. He is a big hero of mine, and you know, I got to chat with him, you know, one time, and
really,
yeah, backstage at the Buell Theater in Denver. Wow. And when I found out that Michael like was BB King, like, you know, I fangirled out over that. I can't go around him. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. No, it's okay, man. That's what we're here to do, is just get embarrassed.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Got to catch him once with my pop. Oh, you caught BB King? Really? I didn't know that, Tori. Wow. Yeah.
Thank you. It's good to be in the crew, Tori.
Yeah, man. You know, you're welcome to hang with us. We basically just look at like, you know, how music works right now. How the hell people are doing it.
I'm so glad Kiki brought me over here. Yeah, you know, it's a weird thing, right? Did you see the what was that concert called? Do you know the one that I'm talking about? It was all these mainstream
the concert.
artists.
Give me something. Give me something. Drop it like, the banana pancakes. Some reference. What concert are you talking about, dude? How can I possibly know what concert you're thinking about right now?
I mean, anyway, it was these mainstream, tons of like, top 40 mainstream pop artists, and it was from
Live
their
stream?
living rooms, and live stream.
This is probably something that was happening in the first like 4, 5, 6 weeks.
Well, it was like two months in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think we went through a phase where some of that was happening. There was one thing that was, I'm trying to remember, it was kind of put together by Lady Gaga. Is that the one you're talking about? It was a charity one, and it had like Elton John and some other people on, I think. There were like a number of those, and I feel like that sort of had its moment where people were like, okay, let's just do something where we've got all these great talented artists. Let's like put them together and do something. So I would watch little snippets to sort of know what was going on.
I mean, I haven't heard a lot about, like relief efforts for people that, make their living this way. Strippers, buskers.
We're all the same when it comes down to it.
Hey, man, it's live performance, man.
It's live performance, man. It's inspiration. That's all we're going for here.
Inspiration. Well, I mean, it's a real thing. I mean, people were feeding their children that way,
No, I know. So are you, are you finding that whether it's live streaming or other shit you might be doing online with your music, for what it's worth, like, are you finding a way to do this right now, or are you just still kind of scratching your head going, I don't know how music fits into this current environment?
Yes.
Yes. That is correct.
The funny thing, I did the performing thing for years, and I was overwhelmed by the YouTube and the live streaming thing, forever. And then I was fucking just quarantined in my house. Right. And I needed humanity, and, it's amazing the community and the love and the communication from all parts of the world that is at our fingertips, and the kind of real community that we actually can find in places like this. And I think that that bit of this has been healthy for me and for a lot of people because of this. I had no idea what an amazing resource was available to me. I mean, everyone knows that you can learn to do anything on YouTube, and Google has the answer for everything, and Wikipedia is full of shit. And there's, all these sort of,
I write for Wikipedia, by the way.
Me too.
I'm serious. No, I'm kidding. I'm glad you knew I was bullshitting you. You're like, shut up.
Don't we all? But I mean, so in that way, it's been cool. I've opened up new avenues, but I'm fucking broke.
let me translate what you just said the last 2 minutes. Music part of live streaming is awesome, but actually live streaming is mostly about just not feeling disconnected with your fellow human beings.
That's the reward that I've had from it. Yeah. You're good at that.
It's funny because like when I first started on, thank you, Barrick. It's like, yes, good translation. When I first started kind of like hanging out on YouNow, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, I was spending much more time as a participant, as someone on other people's streams. And I'm remembering now, as you're saying that I loved it. And I really got something unique out of that I miss. And as soon as you said that, I realized I just haven't had time to, what I've done, so everyone's got their own way. They've sort of pivoted in one way or another in what we're doing. And what I've done the last 4 or 5 months is write about what's going on. And I created a whole new publication and have just been inundated with it. I'm super busy. So awesome. I barely have enough time. I barely have enough time to get on here a couple times a week. And I also prepare, although no one can probably tell. I spend, 2, 3, 4 hours preparing for these so that I can, it's sort of like learning on your scales and then just walking up on stage and being like, what do you guys want to do? I don't know. What do you feel like doing?
Sure.
So that is about all the time I have right now. Even that, I barely have that. But I wish, and I want to get back into like really being there and present for other people's streams, because I think I'm missing a lot of that feeling of like being able to be in there and more a part of it.
And honestly, it's like just this fascinating reality show. It's like a petting zoo of humanity. It's just the bizarre shit that's on people's minds, that when there's no one there to look in the eye, I mean, people just will say what comes to mind. And
you think it's actually easier for someone to fucking go for it here than like say, so social media,
otherwise no one's listening media,
that's true.
Well, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, well, I mean, you don't see the look on their face. You can't really
on social you can't, but here you can. So
right.
if I say, hey, Jay Cozy, blah blah blah, and you're like, dude, that wasn't funny. I'm like, he doesn't think that's funny. You know what I mean? Like I have to process that in one way or another, right? But on a if I'm posting something, I'm like, fuck it. That's
and exactly, and then you can't really tell if that person's being genuine when you read it.
You can't. Whereas here, I think you can.
Yes,
you really can. That's almost my favorite thing about this environment, because like I hate. Tori makes fun of me all the time, but like I didn't even FaceTime my own family before this started. I hate the whole idea of like, we don't need to FaceTime. Just call me on the phone. We can talk. It's going to be great. Right.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we started doing this and I was writing about it and trying to talk about it and trying to follow it, I'm like, I need to know what the fuck this is.
Right.
I can't just be like, oh, live streaming according to blah, blah, blah. You have to know what it feels like to be in here doing this. And one of my favorite things about it is that, I don't know what the statistic is or whatever. People say like, 85% of the information you get from someone is nonverbal.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's not really what they say, or it's and that all comes through on a live stream in a way that you can't get in it really any other way.
Can I, a story that I think needs to be told, man. I'm sure that people have. No, you. I'm asking you to do it, man. I mean, there are these these people that honestly make a living out of it, and there's these kids that are really young. And they're making like 6 figures doing these video game live streams and
right.
whatever, right? At least YouTubers and Twitchers and stuff. And then something happens, right? A girl, life, whatever, they fall off for like a couple months, maybe a year.
Right.
And all of a sudden their following is gone, right? I mean, these are fickle. These are fickle people, right? Mm-hmm. Your supporters. So now you've got this kid that, for years has been doing this, and he's 18, 19, 20, and no real life social skills, no work experience. And it is devastating to their character and their psychology. I mean, there are examples out there and there's a lot. And I just I think it would be a really interesting story if you could somehow get to interview them about it.
Well, here's where my mind goes. I would love to. Peric, thank you for bringing your friends. Here's where my mind goes, because in a way I'm sort of like,
pointing out a failure.
Thank you. You read my mind. So in music, traditionally, the way stories work is if it's a good story, you include names. And if it's a bad story, you don't. So if it's something so that's number one. Number two is, how am I going to contact, thank you, Nikki. How am I going to contact people and be like, hey, do you guys have any failure stories for me that I can sort of talk about, right? It's not that the story's not there or that it's not worth telling or that I wouldn't be happy to explore it, but it's an interesting side of what's going on that people aren't sending you press releases about. Right?
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, there are the people that have recovered, and I think that you would find
That's true. That could be part of it. Is
yeah.
how
So
did people
that's going to be your source.
How did people go from I used to live stream, then this happened, then that happened, then I hit bottom,
Yeah.
and now I've sort of moved back into blah 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 blah.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's an amazing story. And I've really looked into finding these people, and I've got a few examples if you want to talk about it privately. But
so here's here's how this works. When I find something, if I read about something, someone tells me something, or someone's on the phone with me and like, yo, have you heard of, like, I just got turned on to a couple other new live stream platforms, whatever. Someone mentions it to me, I look it up, I find out, I can reach out to them, and like, I can probably, at least get some things moving with it. So if you have people in mind, even just as examples, hey, here's two people that are sort of analogies of what I was talking about, right? And at least it gives me sort of like, oh, okay, I could see how this sort of story is, what kinds of questions it could be, how this sort of narrative plays out, and how I can write it in such a way that it's real and constructive and legit, but isn't throwing anybody under the bus by accident.
Exactly.
Like, oh, fuck, you made me look really bad on that. I didn't
mean to do that. That's the main challenge of covering it. But I think that it's a really big thing, because I think, you have this generation of people that are just idolizing these video game streamers and these YouTube personalities and these social media influencers, and there's another story behind when that falls off. It's, if you think that if there's an allegory about your 40 minutes, right, and that's a very real thing in the big leagues, right? Movies and TV. But I mean, if you think about it, does the same thing to a person's mind. This is just as real to people, and you think about, I mean, these people have to incorporate into the workforce and everything else. So
here, I mean, if we want to talk about it, here would be some of my devil's advocate responses to what you're saying.
Sure.
First off, you probably know who Gary Vee is.
No.
Okay, Gary Vee is a big influencer, but he's also someone who is he works in marketing technically, but he's a very thoughtful person in terms of how social media and brands work. And part of his narrative is that people who look at social media as being some sort of antisocial experience don't understand that that's what generation fill in the blank is, what they do to communicate. And I would also argue that, to extend it, I mean, if this is the next couple of years, if this is how the economy works the next couple of years, this is how the economy works the next couple of years. So if someone is very comfortable on you now and needs to get a job doing this all day, they've actually got an advantage versus someone who's like, live streaming, I don't really do that. I could learn it. And then next to them is someone who's like, I've been doing that since I was 14. I know the weird parts of it. I know the great parts of it. I know this and this. And so to me, it's, at any stage in human history, there were things that were, this is hard. This is hard to get through. I don't think this is a unique moment where there's certain things that are hard. And so the transition from, unhealthy live stream fandom or creatordom into healthy is something that we all have to figure out how to navigate together. And it's just where the economy is pushing us into, whether we want to go there or not.
Yeah.
In other words, it's still a valid story. And I think it's very worth talking about as sort of almost hopefully, what you're describing, hopefully, are outlier situations. These are the people who have spun a little bit out of control because
I'm talking about people that
it got a little too much.
That made a very successful living on it, at a young age,
Right.
And then
it sort of affected them, and then now they're like, I don't know how to not have that.
I mean, the self-esteem issues, the lack of actual human interaction. I mean, it's crazy. I see
where you're going with it.
It's this is why it's important, is because it's the thing that everyone's afraid of, right? It's exactly that stigma against social media and electronic communication of whatever kind, right? And
thank you, Nick.
And how taken to an extreme that affects a person, you know. And I just think it's a really interesting story. I really wanted to talk about it. I was like, I put this whole like podcast thing together, and I had a few people that I was gonna interview about it.
Let me know if I can help you with it. Maybe we can go in the reverse direction. And if I come up with some people and I'm like, shit, this would be great for Jay Cozy's thing, I'll kick him over to you and be like, I don't know, he's got a podcast. It's kind of like, however this works is however, you know what I mean?
Well, you're the journalist, man. But
you are too. You got a podcast. That's the whole thing. There's like, oh, you're a musician because you're on stage and you tour 250 dates a year. I'm on a live stream and everybody's can be whatever. I think that's part of what's happening now too, is the definition of shit has gotten real weird and real like, I mean, musicians that made their living off this last year are struggling. And then people who are amateur musicians are fucking crushing right now. Yeah. So you tell me who's the professional musician right now, right?
There's absolutely.
People, so there's so many things moving right now. There's so many things being sort of like reset. That's not true anymore. This won't work anymore. How does it work? We don't know yet. These people are trying this. That broke. This might work. So anyway, I think that what would be interesting is like talking to people who have gone through that process and have become sort of, like you said, some sort of online famous. And then I do see that a lot where people unplug and there's this backlash.
Yeah.
Again, as a sort of a devil's advocate, sort of, I'm not in that. I don't know what that feels like. I'm not managing those people, so I'm not in it every day.
Yeah,
but my vantage point is you're an entertainer. At the end of the day, you're an entertainer. I don't mean to belittle anyone doing anything online, but if your job is an entertainer, if you're a busker and you don't show up next week, are you going to be mad that the people at the subway aren't coming to your house to throw you tips?
Right.
No, you probably wouldn't. So, I think people, even the definition of a relationship of a fan, a supporter, and a friend, and a what's interesting about you now is it blends into this thing where you just know people because you know them. Like, I like Jay Cozy. Why? Is he a good guitar player? Yeah, he is. Do you like his voice? Yeah, but he's cool. He's just a good dude. I will hang out with him online because it's just Jay Cozy. He's cool. And that's just as much of a reason for people to come on as your fucking guitar. So is Jay Cozy an entertainer? Sort of. I mean,
right. It's a personality thing.
What is that? Why does someone do that? That what started me on this journey 5 months ago was that kind of question. What is going on? What how does this work? What is the magic that and I watch people like Emma McGann.
Yeah.
Okay, so people like that, to me, she's kind of the gold standard in a way of that musician that's like, you just watch her streams. They're awesome in every possible way.
Right.
It's not right. And she's a great musician, and she's a sweetheart, and she's really good at engagement and fun things to do. And so to me, it's when you bring up something like, did your Wi-Fi drop? Come back. So people like Jay Cozy because he's Jay Cozy, not because he plays guitar well, right? I mean, I feel like that's as much a part of it as anything else. Do you want me to kind of bring you out and invite you back in again? Looks like you're sort of hung up on the Wi-Fi-ish thing. Couldn't tell you. So Mind Tricks, I was seeing some of those comments you were having. I'm gonna bring you back out and then in again. I'll see if we can do this again, dude. And by the way, Nick, sorry for calling you Nikki. I just realized it's like, no, dude, there's no I in there. There's absolutely no I in there. And thank you for your love, Nick. So see if I can get this guy back in. Where'd he go? Okay, popped in again. Mind tricks, we'll definitely talk some more, man. It sounded like you were sort of like moving into some of this stuff as well. We got you back.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on.
No, it's cool, man. I love this conversation. And again, to me, we're riffing just like musicians riff, right? Like, I didn't know you from Adam half an hour ago. And now we're like, yeah, man, good point. Wow, boom. And then there's some people on that are, oh no, we lost them again. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi. I'm like right next to my Wi-Fi and I got 3 bars. So it might be something on the Connect. Let's do one more round, and then maybe it's just sort of like the Wi-Fi gods are a little bit pissy right now. So let me try this. I'll bring you back out. Check, check. Mic check. Yeah, it might be Wi-Fi on your side, bro. I don't know. Yeah, Annie. Appreciate it. Tori does love being a helper. So mind tricks. I wanted to maybe sorry, dude. I don't know what happened to. Yeah, maybe it's just a thing. Like, let's wait it out, and we'll definitely we'll chat some more. I appreciate the ideas. If you drop maybe your email, if you drop your email or something, or reach out to Tori on Discord, I'll be happy to connect with you directly. Or you can use, Tori, what's our Gmail account for Liveonlive? So maybe Jay Cozy can like connect with us a little bit. The publication is called The Virtual and Remote Guide. Tori, if you can leave some links for people that want to do some nerdy stuff like a reading, that would be cool. We're 9 minutes out from the 12 o'clock hour. What is this, a TV show? What is this, a radio show? Okay, got it. So cool. In fact, let me just take a quick little screenshot of that, and I will email you later on today. But yeah, I mean, your ideas are excellent, and honestly, like I'm sort of responding to them in real time, but I haven't had a chance to really internalize them and respond to them. And I think also, you know, sometimes it's hard to know what you don't understand. And I think what you're describing is something that I don't understand. In other words, I don't know anyone that's gone through that yet. I don't know anyone who knows someone that's told me about the fact that they've gone through it. So I'm sort of steps removed from what you're describing, and all I can do is think about it from whatever lenses I have. You know what I mean? So I'd appreciate hearing more about what you're seeing and sensing, and figuring out like, okay, what's going on there that's worth talking about? How do we talk about it, right? Likewise, dude. Appreciate it. We, you know, for what it's worth, all of our streams, 98% of our streams are on YouTube. So if you go back up the tiny URL link at the top here, on our bio page or whatever it is, our bio, you could go back and see. Yeah, Jay Cozy, thank you for hanging, man. Yeah, I agree. Mind tricks, dude, we got to bring you on, man. I appreciate. I'm picking up that you're, you know, you're figuring stuff out. You're moving into the space. You're trying to sort of. Thanks, Tori. Do stuff. I'd love to chat with you more and find out kind of like what you're into, what you're trying to figure out. Bring you. Thanks, OG. I'm down. Now I know what it feels like for the first time. It's like, now I know what these people feel like when they're like, dude, we'd like to interview you next week. And like people are like, whoa, 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 what? I didn't do anything. I swear. Like, no, man, it's not, you know, we're not going to, it's not an interrogation. Not going to be a light there on your face. Yeah, I'm down. We'll talk more about it. Mind tricks. Yeah, man, let's chat some more. Drop some info on you in our Discord so we can sort of keep in touch with you. Again, sort of, full disclosure, like Wednesdays and Fridays on our little windows where we do this is kind of like the sacred time where I really put myself into this 100%. I wish I could do it. Thank you, Jay Cozy. I wish I could do this more. I'd like to do this more. I plan to do this more. Maybe in the next 60 to 90 days, I'd like to be able to do this maybe even twice as often as we do it now. We'll see. I'm getting some things off the ground that will take a lot of energy and a lot of creative time. But thank you, OG. But I'd like to do more of these. So again, I sort of do this almost every single stream, but I'm going to do it. And no one ever responds to these, but fuck it. It's some point someone will start responding. But like, if there are things that you guys would find interesting, I mean, this will just go wherever it goes and it's fine. It seems to do fine just the way it is. But like, for example, all of August is all artists, now artists, now artists who have accomplished something significant or are doing something significant that we can learn about, that are worth learning about. So it's kind of a music-y, artisty month, right? And I think that's cool because everyone adds to that and stacks on the sort of knowledge base, and then people start to learn things and they can ask questions about it on the next one. And I think that works really nicely to have like a theme, and it helps people to get to know us. It organizes our efforts between Tori and I. By the way, who is Tori? Tori is the amazing coordinator that sort of does all the behind the scenes stuff that makes this even possible. She's a superhero. She's the princess of power. Tori's like, dude, yeah, Pete's sidekick. Can you do like the blush emote, Tori, for me? I'm just kidding. Batman and Robin, basically. That's basically what this is. Yeah, everybody clap it up for T. Thank you, T. Clapping it up for T. Tori is the best. She is the amazing miracle maker. No, we're not going to stop. I got 4 more minutes of this shit. And be honest, you guys all love Tori. All of you. Like, right now. Seriously. I know you guys all love Tori. Yep. That's where it is. It's all there. There, you can't. They don't. Tori's like, okay, thanks, Pete. Enough. Stop. You can't find them. They come to you. Thank you, Tori. She's trying now. She's like, everybody, look, go look at Pete now. Is there a TV show called Pete and Pete? That's hilarious. Back in the day. Oh, he's going way back. That's why it's OG. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely, that's true. I think the other side of that is you know, I don't think it's about finding good help. I don't think that's really how I view it or how it happens. I think it's sort of like someone saying to me, and it's a weird analogy to make, but it's like, how do I find good fans? Well, you put things out that you think are meaningful or helpful, and then people respond to that, and some people will be like, yo, I'm gonna fucking check this shit out all the time, or as much time as I can. Like, how do you find those people? You don't find them. You put shit out. Thank you, Kiki. It's not, you know, and I think wanting to find fans is sort of like, fans are like, ugh, like, it seems like he just wants fans, right? So I think if we had any sort of secret sauce since the beginning, it's Tori's the reason I started watching these. Right on. That's hilarious. And he's like, I guess it's just Pete like talking. I guess whatever, I'll hang out. It's not too bad. Yeah, number one secret sauce is we don't know what the hell we're doing, and I hope we hold on to that. Like we don't really know what we're doing. I always tell Tori too, like, as soon as this gets comfortable, we need to push into something that's not comfortable. We need to add something. We need to create something that we don't think we can necessarily pull off. Yeah, like I think the first couple times I said that, you're like, that's what crazy people do. What are you talking about? Like, no, the minute you're comfortable with something you're putting out there for people, it might work for a minute, but at the same time, if you're not inspired by it, then it becomes this thing that you're sort of phoning in and you don't realize it. Yeah. So number one, I think, you need to do things that are pushing you. And what was my other last point before? Oh, I got to jump. We're doing this because it feels natural to us to do it. And I think good musicians or good artists or anyone, if you're looking for someone to come onto your team, do things that would attract good people as much as you possibly can, and do something that you think is meaningful. And sometimes people will be like, yo, I like what you're doing. Can I help you? Anyway, I don't think you were actually asking me how to find good help, so I didn't mean to get on the soapbox. Yeah, I would love to do some sort of open mic thing. I just need to, I want to think through like exactly how it works. And it might even be something that we do in the next few months as certain pieces of the technology allow certain things to become sounding better and easier. I like what 7000's doing with how they're guesting and sort of, I think there's ways to do it. And I think I just want to do it in a way that's musically, no, what strange things? I don't know what that is. I like the open mic idea. I just want it to be something that's sort of coherent. Stranger things. Really? Is he on you now? Yeah, we'll check him out. By the way, that's a really good point. If you guys have people that you love that are not on our radar, Tori, who do we have coming up over the next 3 weeks? Why don't we make a quick list of that, and then I got to bounce. Let's just sort of like do a quick list of who we have coming up. And thank you, read my mind. So if there's someone that you like, that you think would be good for us to speak with or bring on or talk to or reach out to or whatever, that's not on that list, yeah. Interesting. I'm assuming that song that he played a second ago was an original. I didn't recognize it. But sure, I'm totally down. OG, yeah, absolutely, dude. Moonhawk was absolutely on our radar. I think it was just a matter of like scheduling we haven't figured out. There's a few people that we reached out to, and we only had certain Wednesday and Friday slots that were oh, that was Stephen Stills. Oh, okay, that makes sense. It's interesting when I was listening to it, I'm like, this kind of reminds me of like the 70s. And I could hear like that influence, and I just didn't realize it was not his song. From Crosby, Stills, and Nash. All right, guys, I got to go, but I love all of you. Thank you, Nick, again, for your love. Thank you, Laura, for your love as well. The Legion crew, thank you guys that maybe came on because of Michael. Thank you for coming by and hanging out. Appreciate all of you guys for being here. Thank you, Kiki. You're awesome. You're like such great energy. We appreciate you being here. Thank you, everyone, for your ideas and comments and stuff. Blues, thank you for being patient with me while I figured out how to pronounce your name. Mind Tricks, let's definitely hang some more. We'll talk some more. Nick, thank you again. T, thank you for being in as always. OG, Annie, good to see you again. Everybody that's in here, thank you for popping in. We're in here Wednesdays and Fridays, 10 a.m. Pacific, Wednesdays and Fridays. We do music interviews. And that's what we got for today. So we'll see you Friday. And thank you, guys. See you soon.